Most people who are bad with money aren't bad with money. The budget that assumes you have no irregular expenses. The just max your 401k line that ignores the fact that you're also paying off student loans and $2,200 a month in rent. The investment strategy built for someone who started at 22 and never had a financial emergency in their life. The advice isn't wrong. It was never written for you. Here's what most personal finance content gets backwards. The gap between what people know and what they do isn't an information problem. You already know you should invest. You already know debt is expensive. You already know that buying a car you can't afford is a bad idea. You don't need more information. You need the right frame. Because here's what nobody says out loud. Most financial advice was written for a median household that doesn't exist. It assumes stable income, no medical surprises, no aging parents, no periods of unemployment, and a level of discipline that holds up perfectly under stress. That household is a spreadsheet. You're a person, which means the decisions that actually move the needle for you are different from the ones everyone keeps talking about. And when real advice meets a real life, something has to give. Usually it's the advice, quietly, invisibly, while you wonder why doing everything right still doesn't feel like enough. The $4 latte argument? It's not that it's wrong, it's that it's irrelevant. If you cut every coffee you ever bought, you'd reclaim maybe $1,500 a year. Meanwhile, one housing decision, just one, can cost or save you $200,000 over a decade. These are not the same category of problem. Treating them like they are is why so many people feel stuck despite doing the work. The big decisions are quiet. The small decisions are loud. Most finance content talks about the loud ones. If you earn decent money, do most of the right things, and still feel like progress is slower than it should be, this channel is for you. I'm Cole, and this is The Money Professor. The name is the mission. Teach the actual mechanics of money, plainly, without the usual noise, the way almost nobody bothers to. I'm a CPA, and I've spent years inside how money actually moves. Taxes, financial statements, the math behind decisions people make once and live with for decades. But here's what the credential doesn't come with. It doesn't teach you how to use it for your own life. I could audit a company's books long before I could think clearly about my own mortgage. The technical knowledge and the personal wisdom are not the same thing. I had to build the second one separately. And building it, I kept hitting the same wall. I'd take advice everyone repeats, the defaults people accept without question, and run the actual numbers. Take a raise. People treat the whole thing like it lands in their pocket. Run it through the brackets, the phase-outs, the credits that quietly disappear. And a piece of that raise was never really yours. The number people plan around and the real number are almost never the same. That's the pattern over and over. Not all the advice breaks, but enough of it does that it matters. I started this channel for two reasons. The first, I kept watching people I care about make expensive mistakes, not because they were careless, but because nobody had given them the right frame. The second is closer to home. I have kids. The financial education they'll get, from school, from the culture, from the defaults floating around online, won't be enough. It wasn't enough for me. It probably wasn't enough for you. So this channel closes that gap. Not with a lecture, not a pep talk. With the mechanics explained clearly for people ready to stop letting the default decide for them. One thing before we go further, everything here is financial education, not personal financial advice. Run the numbers for your own situation. Everything on this channel runs on 4 beliefs. 1. Money serves life. Money is a tool, not a scoreboard. Your net worth is not the point. Your options are. The goal isn't a number, it's the freedom to make choices based on what you want instead of what you can afford. 2. Systems beat willpower. Discipline is fragile. Motivation fades. A system that requires you to be perfect every month is not a financial strategy. It's a fantasy. We build for real people in real conditions, not optimized humans in controlled environments. Most financial content stops there. We don't. 3. Compounding changes everything. Not just your investment account, your decisions, your knowledge, your time. Small inputs in the right direction over enough time produce results that feel impossible until they don't. The problem is compounding is invisible for most of its life. which is exactly why most people underestimate it, underuse it, and bail before it pays off. Starting earlier almost always beats starting better. 4. Challenge the default. The default is usually wrong. Not corrupt, not malicious, just generic, built for an average situation that isn't yours. We're going to challenge a lot of conventional wisdom on this channel, and when we do, we'll show our work. The better answer is almost always one level deeper than where the conversation stopped. Here's a preview of the kind of arguments we make on this channel. Your savings rate matters more than your income. Two people earning the same salary can end up in completely different financial positions a decade from now. And the gap has almost nothing to do with how much either one made. We'll show you the math. Your housing decision is probably the single most expensive financial choice you'll ever make, and almost nobody calculates the real cost before they make it. Not the mortgage payment, the real cost. We'll show you how to run that number. The first $100,000 is the hardest. Compounding doesn't feel real until it does, and then it changes everything about how you play the game. We're going to talk about why that milestone matters more than almost any other, and exactly what it takes to get there. These aren't topics, they're arguments, and every video on this channel will make one. A few things this channel will never do. We will never tell you the reason you're not building wealth is a decision you made last Friday. That's noise dressed up as insight. We will never tell you what to think. We'll show you how to think about housing, about investing, about debt, about the trade-offs nobody bothers to quantify for you. Then you decide, and we will never make this more complicated than it needs to be. The math behind most financial decisions takes about 20 minutes to understand. The problem is, nobody has ever laid it out without an agenda. That's what this channel is here to fix. The first video on this channel makes a specific argument that the number most people obsess over, their income, has less to do with their financial outcome than almost any other variable in their life. If you think you already know why, watch it anyway. The reason is probably not what you think. Subscribe if you want the math beneath the advice. I'm Cole. This is the Money Professor.